If you want to pass Cambridge C1 Advanced exam in 6 months, this video is your map. Not the fantasy map, not the study 5 hours every day, wake up at 4 a.m., become a new person before Tuesday map, but the real one. The one for busy professionals, full-time workers, parents, overthinkers, perfectionists, and people who have opened a C1 textbook after a long working day and thought, where do I even start? Because that's one of the biggest problems with the C1 Advanced. It's not just that the exam is hard, it's that the exam feels huge. You've got reading, use of English, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, timing, exam technique, confidence, and at some point your brain just says no. And here's the thing, if you're doing this because you need C1 for a new job, maybe an international role, or you want to move to another country, you don't have 6 months to waste studying randomly. Your time is important, and it's a scarce resource, not your ability. Most candidates think that the solution is to study more. More YouTube videos, more textbooks, more vocabulary lists, more practice tests, more screenshots saved in a folder called C1 stuff. And yes, practice matters, of course it does. But random practice is not a plan. Random practice is just panic, pretending to be productive. Now, the truth is this. You don't pass the C1 Advanced exam by studying everything. You pass by studying the right things in the right order based on your real weaknesses, with enough repetition to make the skills reliable. And that's the difference. Once you understand that, 6 months suddenly feels much more realistic. Not easy, but realistic. And to be clear about who this map is for, this is for people who already have a solid English base, either, a strong B2 level, close to C1. If that's you, then 6 months is absolutely enough. If you're starting from scratch, then this is a different conversation. So today, I'm going to show you the full 6-month map, where in month 1, you find your real level and you stop guessing. In months 2 and 3, you build the core exam skills. In months 4 and 5, you train under exam conditions. And in month 6, you become pass ready. And I'll also explain why inside my C1 Advanced Exam Success Program, I don't just give you content, I create your plan for you. Because honestly, most candidates don't need another 100-page PDF. They need someone to say, start here, do this next, this is your weak point, and this is what we fixed this week. And when your week is already full, maybe you've got meetings, you've got kids, you're traveling, then that clarity is worth more than any amount of exam material. I'm Izzy from English with Izzy, and I've helped over 4,000 candidates prepare for the Cambridge C1 exam. More than 100,000 people have downloaded my resources, and now I'm here to help you pass the C1 Advance with a clear plan and not guesswork. So let's build the map. Month 1 is not about studying everything. It's about finding out where you actually are, because you cannot build a good study plan from feelings. And C1 candidates have a lot of feelings. They think, I think my writing is terrible, I feel like my speaking is bad, I'm probably okay at reading, use of English is a crime scene. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but you need evidence. So your first step is simple. Do one full C1 Advanced practice test. Not perfectly, not after 3 weeks of preparation, but do it now. Because your starting point is not your final result. It's just your map. But you need to know your current score in reading, use of English, writing, listening, and speaking. And then you ask yourself, which paper is lowest? Which part keeps costing me marks? What mistake keeps repeating? And that's where the plan begins. Inside my C1 Advanced Exam Success Program, this is the first thing we do. You complete your starting point, then I use your results to create your personalized study plan around your real marks and weaknesses. So instead of sitting there thinking, what should I study today? You already know. And that one thing removes so much stress, because overwhelm loves uncertainty. A plan kills uncertainty. A plan kills uncertainty. Very dramatic, but very useful. Now, months 2 and 3 are your skill building months. And this is where you learn the strategies for each part of the exam. Not random English, but exam English. Because the Cambridge C1 Advanced isn't just testing whether you know English, it's testing whether you can use English in very specific tasks. For reading, you need to stop choosing answers because they sound right, and you need to find proof in the text. You need patterns, collocations, word families, dependent positions, grammar transformations. For writing, you need to understand the task types. You need to know what an essay, review, report, proposal, email, or letter looks like. And you need to know what each one is supposed to do. For speaking, you need structure, not memorized answers, but structure. And you need to know how to compare photos, develop answers, react to your partner, and finish your answer cleanly. And for listening, you need to train focus, you need to train distractors, paraphrasing, and timing. And this is why, when people say, I'll just do past papers, it's not enough, because past papers show you the problem, but they don't fix the problem. It's like weighing yourself and saying that you just worked out. It's interesting data, but you haven't built any muscle. So in months 2 and 3, your job is to learn the strategy, apply it, check your mistakes, and repeat the weakest part. And that's the whole system. You learn, you apply, you log or you track your mistakes, you review them, and you repeat. Is it boring? Maybe. Is it effective? Absolutely. And at this level, effective is much more important than exciting every single time. Months 4 and 5 are where things get serious. This is where you start training under exam conditions, because there's a huge difference between knowing what to do slowly at home and doing it in the time limit with pressure when your brain is acting like it's never seen English before. You need timed practice. You need to do full writing tasks, full speaking answers out loud. You need to do reading and use of English with the clock running. You need to do listening without pausing and replaying 47 times. I know it's painful, but it's necessary. Because the exam isn't asking, can you do this eventually? It's asking, can you do this on the exam day? So months 4 and 5 are about turning your knowledge into a performance. And that's also where your error log becomes your best friend, which is this Google Sheet I created for my students. And every time you practice, you need to write down, you need to track what was my mark, but also what mistake did I make? And what's the solution to this mistake? For example, let's have a look at use of English part 4. Maybe the mistake, if you look at it closely, was because of conditionals. Maybe you didn't know your conditionals or you made a mistake with your conditionals. And what's the solution? Well, practice 10 conditional transformations. If you're really not understanding conditionals, then you need to go and watch a video or take a class on conditionals so you can understand how they work, so you don't make the mistake the next time. Maybe you do a writing task. My students do writing tasks on our AI platform. They get a lot of feedback, and maybe the feedback says your conclusion didn't answer the question. So you think, okay, what do I need to do? I need to practice my conclusions. Maybe you go to a speaking class and the teacher said that your answers are too short. What can you do? Well, you can record your answers at home and make sure you use the magic formula: point, example, explanation. Record yourself, listen to it again, and try a second time. So this is how you stop wasting time. You don't study everything equally, but you study what your data tells you to study. And inside the program, this is just naturally built into the system. So you're not guessing, what do I have to study today? You have the plan, the practice, the feedback, and the platform, and also the support when you have your doubts. Because when you can see your level clearly, your fear becomes a plan. And last but not least, month 6 is not the month for panic. So please don't spend the final month trying to become a completely different person. You're not going to master every grammar structure, fix every pronunciation habit, read every article on the internet, and become spiritually reborn before exam day. But month 6 is about becoming pass ready. And that means you know the exam format, you know your timing, you know your weakest parts, you know what score range you are getting, because you'll have good days and bad days. Some exams will be harder, some will be easier. You know how to recover from your mistakes, and you know what to do when a question is hard. So the goal isn't perfection, but it's about reliability. Can you reach the score that you need more than once? Not on one lucky day, but more than once. And that is what pass ready means. So in the final month, you want to do timed practice. You want to review your repeated mistakes. You want lots of speaking practice, writing feedback. You need to know what your exam day routine is going to be like. And you also want to do, some light revision of the tasks that are familiar and the tasks that you're good at. So no chaos before the exam, no studying for 10 hours a day, not discovering a new 300-page grammar book the week before your exam, but close the grammar book. It's done enough. So here's the real talk. You can absolutely waste 6 months preparing for C1. Many candidates do. They study a bit of everything, they watch videos, they collect PDFs, they do a practice test, they feel traumatized, and then they avoid another one for 3 weeks. But you can also use your 6 months properly. First, you find your level. In months 2 and 3, you build the skills. In months 4 and 5, you train under pressure. And in month 6, you become pass ready. And that's your map. But the map only works if it's personal, because your weak point is not the same as somebody else's. Maybe your writing is strong, but your use of English is really pulling your score down. Or maybe your speaking's fine, but listening collapses under pressure. Maybe your grammar's good, but your writing doesn't answer the task properly. And that's why a personalized plan matters. And that's exactly what I create inside my C1 Advanced Exam Success Program. You do the starting point, I help you see where you are, and then you get a clear plan built around your marks, your weaknesses, and your timeline. So you're not just studying, but you're moving. And there's a real difference. So, can you pass C1 in 6 months? Yes. If you already have the base level, and if you stop studying randomly. So, the plan is not study everything and cross your fingers, but the plan is find your level, build the skills, train under exam conditions, track your mistakes, fix the patterns, and become pass ready. And if you're a working professional who needs a certificate for your career, and you want help doing this properly instead of losing months of just guessing, then come and see what's inside the C1 Advanced Success Program. You get the structure, the study plan, the classes, the practice, the feedback in every class, real speaking examiners who are your teachers inside the program, and you get the support to stop guessing and to finally prepare properly. I've left the link in the description below, so just click on Accelerator to apply. And if you're a good fit, you'll book a call with my team. Let's have a chat in the comments. Comment below and tell me, what is your biggest C1 problem right now? Is it the exam itself? Is it knowing how to study for the exam? And if you're preparing for the C1 Advanced, please subscribe, because I'm here to help you stop guessing and start preparing properly. And remember, your future English starts with what you do today.